A 62-year-old woman once whispered to me during a marriage counseling session, "I live with my husband every day, but I feel invisible." If you've ever felt that way, know that you are not alone. According to a survey by the American Psychological Association, as many as 95% of married women over 60 admit to feeling emotionally isolated in their own homes. But here's the scariest part. It's not just the numbers, it's the fact that most of these women think it's their fault. "Maybe I'm getting old, that's why my husband doesn't want to talk anymore." "I'm tired, don't expect anything more from me." "I don't have anything new to say anymore." If you've ever told yourself this, I want you to stop. And let's look at this together. Are you living, or are you just existing in the role of a wife? The good news is this feeling is not because you're weak, and it's certainly not because love has died. There is a reason for it. And surprisingly, it's not age or menopause like you might think. In this video, I'll share 5 familiar signs that most women over 60 experience in silence. These aren't complaints, they're reminders. You still deserve to be touched, to be heard, and to live as yourself, no matter your age. If you've been feeling yourself slowly fade after 60, please like and subscribe. Not to follow me, but so you don't miss the next time you get called back to life. Stay with me until the end, because the real cause might not be age, but something small that you've never been shown how to face. Sign number 1, feeling invisible in your own home. Have you ever sat in the kitchen making a cup of tea and realized that all morning no one has asked you what you're thinking? You're still there, still doing everything just like you did decades ago. But it feels like you're fading away, like you've become transparent in your own home. Many women over 60 describe this strange feeling. They're still present, still managing everything, still right there beside their husband and children every day. But they no longer feel seen with the heart. No one asks what they want. No one waits to hear their stories. No one really listens to the answers. Why is that? It's not malice. It's a kind of over-familiarity that happens in the family. When the wife has done everything so well for so long, the people around her start assuming she'll always be there and she'll always be fine. A study from the University of Michigan found that after age 60, married women are twice as likely as men to feel lonely, even when living under the same roof. Feeling overlooked and forgotten in communication is one of the main reasons. Linda, 67, from Minnesota, once shared with me, "I've lived with my husband for 40 years, but now at every meal he looks at the TV more than he looks at me." Then she paused for a moment and added, "But I've gotten used to it. I don't blame him. I just feel like a shadow." It's heartbreaking, isn't it? But it's not too late. We can't change others overnight, but we can start by speaking up, even with one small sentence every day. Ask a question, bring up a topic, say what we want, even if it's soft and quiet. Because when you stop being silent, others will start to remember that you once had a voice, and when you dare to show up, others will learn to see you again from the beginning. But just being seen isn't enough. Many women over 60 feel that even though they live close to their partner, they are emotionally very far away. Sign number 2, no longer being touched. Not just physically, but emotionally too. Do you remember the last time your husband held your hand? Not to cross the street, not to catch you from falling, but just holding your hand to make you feel loved. Many women after 60 share that they no longer feel touched, in both the literal and figurative sense. No more hugs, no more brushing of the hair, no more tender looks or simple compliments like, "You look beautiful today." And then they tell themselves, "I'm old now. I probably don't need that anymore. My husband can't say those things." At this age, romance is a luxury. But the truth is, the body and heart never age out of needing connection. A study from the University of California found that touch, even something as simple as holding hands or a gentle hug, helps the body release oxytocin, the love hormone. This hormone is essential for emotional bonding and can even improve your mood and reduce stress. If you're feeling any of these signs, it's time to acknowledge them, and it's not too late to change the dynamic, even if you're already in your 60s or beyond. Love, connection, and attention are not limited by age. They're meant to be nurtured, and you deserve to feel seen, heard, and loved, no matter where you are in life. This is the hormone that calms your nervous system, reduces anxiety, improves sleep, and most importantly, it helps people feel like they still have value. When you haven't been touched for a long time, you start to question yourself. Am I still attractive? Have I become numb? Barbara, 65, from Oregon shared, "My husband is still good, still caring, but we're no longer close." She looked down at her hands and said, "Every night we lie next to each other, but it feels like two phones charging with no connection." It's no one's fault. It's just that they had forgotten. Love doesn't naturally last, and skin doesn't naturally stay warm. Start with a hug you initiate, a word you've hesitated to say, a gesture that may seem old, but your heart is still waiting for it. Because love, it never expires. It's just that after a long time without use, it falls asleep. Did you know that not only does love fall asleep, but sometimes you do too? You forget that you once had your own passions. Do you remember, back when you were in your 20s or 30s, what you truly enjoyed? Not for anyone else, not to achieve success, but because it made your heart race with excitement. Maybe it was journaling, knitting scarves, learning to bake French pastries, playing the mandolin, or volunteering to teach. These were the things that made your eyes shine and your heart beat faster. But then you got married, had kids. Life got busy, and slowly those passions were tucked away, deep in a drawer, gathering dust. After 60, when the kids have grown up and your husband has retired, you might suddenly feel empty, not because you lack things to do, but because you've forgotten who you were outside of being a wife and mother. This isn't just your experience. According to research from the National Institute on Aging, 60% of women over 60 report a sense of losing their personal identity because for so many years they lived for others. Helen, 68, used to be a drawing teacher. She shared, "For 30 years, I only focused on my children and the kitchen. Now when I have time, I don't know what to do with myself. I pick up a paintbrush, but my hands shake. Not because I'm old, but because I haven't touched what I love in so long." Does that sound familiar? The good news is those old passions aren't gone. They're just asleep. You can wake them up with one small step. Buy a new paintbrush, sign up for a dance class, write a short story. Do it not to impress anyone, not to be good at it, but just to feel alive again. You weren't born just to care for others. You once had a world full of colors, sounds, and your own little dreams. It hasn't disappeared. It's just waiting for you to return and knock on the door. But sometimes you don't have the strength to knock anymore. Not because you don't want to, but here's something you need to face head on. Blaming yourself for being tired but not speaking up. Have you ever been lying in bed, completely exhausted, but still told yourself, "I have to get up and cook. I'm not that tired"? Or those days when your mind feels scrambled and you just want to sit still for a moment, but then you force yourself to keep going because you're a wife, a mother, the one who holds everything together. Many women over 60 fall into this silent loop, feeling tired but not allowing themselves to rest, blaming themselves for being tired, pushing themselves even harder to make up for that guilty feeling. And sadly, they don't complain, they don't ask for help. They just blame themselves and shrink within. Enduring in silence, according to the American Journal of Women's Health, more than 70% of women over 60 suffer from chronic fatigue, dull pain, and insomnia. But they don't share their struggles with loved ones, often out of fear of being seen as complainers. Your husband still cares, your children still love you, but if you don't speak up, how would anyone know that you need rest? Nancy, 64, once went to the hospital for high blood pressure after months of poor sleep. She said something that stuck with me. "I never imagined I'd be exhausted just from trying to stay quiet." You're not weak because you're tired. You're simply carrying too many burdens for too long. Allow yourself to rest when you need to. Say, "I'm tired" when you need to. That's not selfish. It's an act of kindness toward yourself. Because if you don't care for your own fatigue, who can love you as deeply as you've loved others? If you're still with me and find this advice helpful, please comment with the number 4 below to let me know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to follow and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos. Your support helps us continue creating valuable and inspiring content. Did you know that sometimes what makes you most tired isn't the work itself, but the invisible distance between two people lying next to each other every night? This is the last thing I want you to not take lightly. Don't accept indifference as part of aging. Have you ever thought, after who doesn't feel this way? Things soften, love cools, we're just living together. No more romance. Many wives convince themselves this is just the way things are, and silently accept days filled with no affectionate words, quiet meals, and touches that have become mere habits. They think, this is natural, it's normal. But it's not. Indifference is not the inevitable part of aging. It's the result of a silent process that both people either don't notice or don't dare to acknowledge. A 12-year study from Stanford University found that couples over 60 can still significantly improve their emotional connection if they actively rebuild communication and share their emotional needs, even later in life. Richard and Elaine Fippi-Burline, married for 40 years in Seattle, had lived like roommates for a decade. But when Elaine was hospitalized after fainting at 67, they finally had a real conversation. Elaine shared, "I didn't ask for anything big. I don't need gifts or ceremonies." Then looking out the window, she slowly said, "I just wanted to be asked, are you feeling sad?" But he never asked. Don't wait for a crisis to realize that love doesn't fade because of age. It fades when no one tends to it. If you're still together, even at 60 or 70, it's never too late to have a real conversation, to reconnect with meaningful touches, and to love again, just like when you first chose each other. Because living under the same roof doesn't mean you're truly together if your hearts no longer meet. You've just walked through 5 feelings that many women over 60 silently endure. Maybe you're one of them. Invisible, untouched, forgetting yourself, tired but too afraid to speak, and then thinking it's just the natural part of aging. But today, I want to make something clear. None of this is normal, and you don't have to accept it, because you're still here. You still have time. You still have a heart that can feel. You're not just the shadow of a wife. You're a person, full of needs, emotions, and the right to be loved completely, even with gray hair. Try to start again with one small action. Speak an honest word. Do something just for yourself. Gently touch your partner's hand, just like when you were younger. You don't have to wait for anyone else to take the first step. As long as you still want to, still dare to, your hearts can meet again. If this video made you feel understood, please leave a comment, "I am still myself." And share it with a close friend, because maybe she's also tired but hasn't spoken up yet. Thank you for staying until the very end. We hope to continue listening to you, because living is something we still learn every day. Even with gray hair, even with weary shoulders. But the heart, if it still wants, can always begin again.